Hey guys, we are back in the house. I'm your boy APT Songs, and over here to my, I'll say left.
Just my boy with me. Just my friend. I have a friend. Yes, Joe Hollywood in the building. How is everybody doing? I've been saying I'm gonna start wearing some caps on No Cap Zone, so I figured this one's appropriate to start us off. Yeah,
we gotta get some real caps made for the show. We freaking
awesome.
So today this is pretty much more or less a review and analyzation of the new Space Jam movie, Space Jam: A New Legacy. For those of you that are in a rabbit hole, I did there. Space Jam 2.
Worse than I am.
Space Jam 2 topped the box office with $32 million this weekend, beating Black Widow.
Really?
Yeah, surprisingly. So for those of you that don't know, this is the sequel to the oh so wonderful classic 1996 Space Jam starring Michael Jordan back in his heyday. And so I saw it at the theater. I think Joe here saw it on HBO Max. You've seen the theater.
I was gonna go to the theater, right? Because I like theaters and I haven't been in a minute. I didn't even realize it was on HBO Max, but yeah, at the time I was getting ready to go. My friend was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna watch it at home on HBO Max." I was like, "I can watch it at home." So yeah, I just got some food to watch it at home. I'm sorry, AMC. I will be back, but yeah, I took that time off.
I'm actually kind of glad I saw it on the big screen because I mean there was enough action set pieces.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so
I still can. I still might because I tend to watch movies more than once. So
okay, that's right.
If you want to go, let me know. I'm down. Let's do it.
So I guess I don't know where to go with this. We'll just go first off.
Wait, real quick. Can we spoiler or are we spoiler free?
Good call. For those of you that are watching this that have not seen it, go see it because we're gonna spoil some stuff. Most likely.
Yeah. Pause it and then watch it. You can watch it at home on HBO Max, free plug. We can charge them. But yeah, and then come back and watch the rest of the video because
you can pause it on your phone and then go to the movies, watch the movie, then unpause your phone and keep watching.
True.
Yeah.
You can just look at the theater now and watch it after the movie at the theater while you're sipping your tasty beverage.
Indeed. But yeah, this is so when this was first announced like years ago. It's funny because LeBron was announced as the successor to Jordan before he even actually signed on or was even had an interest in doing the project. It was just like, oh, LeBron should do it because he's almost like Jordan. It was like, okay, whatever. So the fact that 10 years later this actually happened is amazing. So
I remember having this conversation. I remember people were tossing Kobe's name out there, but he had his issues. Yeah. He had a little, what do you call it, PR situation, and they didn't want to go that direction. Yeah. So I'm like, I get it, But yeah, honestly, I think Steph might have been another good one. I don't know if he's on that like greatest of all time level, but I'm a Steph fan too. I think he would have done a good job. Steph Curry, for anyone who's not familiar.
Yes.
Who I'm talking about.
So
yeah, I think LeBron was a good choice. I think he is that guy for this era, because Jordan was like that guy.
Yeah. So and what I found interesting too was, and people have like rolled their eyes when I've said this, but unlike Jordan, I thought LeBron was actually good in part because he can actually, on some level, act. Like before he was in this movie, he was in Trainwreck with Amy Schumer. He was like the comedic relief and did a very good job. And he's done other things since then that show off, if nothing else, that he at least is trying to act. Jordan, it's not even that I hated Jordan's performance. I thought for what the movie was for the original Space Jam, the way that Jordan reacted, it's like they built the movie around him so where his reactions didn't have to be any kind of exuberant acting for it to be passable. I thought for this one, because, there's a story involving him being a father and a son and then going to this verse. And then like he had to have range for various actual emotions in this movie. So I thought in comparison to Jordan, LeBron was actually the better actor of the two.
It's funny because I just had this conversation last night and got the opposite opinion. He's not a great actor from the people I was having the conversation with. Personally, I don't find that a relevant conversation in a movie where you're playing yourself. So like Jordan was playing Jordan in a strange scenario. And so LeBron playing LeBron, I'm like, whatever you do is clearly correct because it's you. So, unless you get out of character for your character. But I mean, he did all right. I didn't hate the movie because of his acting or it was believable, his interactions with people. So to me, I don't know, people who don't know me might not know, but I am a harsh movie critic. I will tear a script, cinematography. I have a film school background. I went to school for this. You know what I'm saying? I can rip to shreds. If I wanted to, I could probably tear this one up.
And that may be a whole different show we do also. Just anytime a bad movie comes out, trust me, we have conversations all day. We're just him ripping it for like an hour straight. We could do this as its own solo show. But anyway, continue.
We got to bring little sis into that. We got to bring Tana in if we start ripping shows apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's currently film student, future Ava DuVernay out there. Ty, shout out. But yeah, so we can do that too. But it's Space Jam. Like, why are we gonna rip apart space? It's Space Jam. Like the name of the movie tells you, don't take this seriously. Jamming in space. Like, what? Somebody brought up the point. It was a commercial from a pitch meeting. Shout out to pitch meeting. If you don't watch pitch meetings, you're missing out. You're missing out. It's the best thing. I watch movies so that I can watch the pitch meeting.
Also, a lot of reviewers pointed out that it felt like a Warner Brothers commercial, to which I'm like, yeah, the last one was it was a big ass Nike commercial.
It was literally a commercial, and they were like, "Hey, this was fun. Can we stretch it out to 90 minutes?" And that's what happened. That's why there's a Space Jam.
Yeah.
So the sequel to that, it's Bugs Bunny in basketball and a basketball player being Goofy. That's the movie. So why we're expecting some high level Scorsese film out of this, I don't understand. Like, they nailed it. Goofiness, basketball, cartoons, famous face. Done.
A lot of famous faces. A lot of famous faces, man.
A lot of them. Cameos. Lots of cameos.
Yeah.
So some of the critiques I've heard, possibly valid. One of the main ones was it didn't focus on the other basketball players enough. Like the original kind of walked us through their story of everything.
Yes.
Which I do appreciate. That was actually a good little B story. Was it necessary? Did it like break the movie for me? Not really. I got to be honest with you. I didn't know who a lot of the other people were. Like, I'm not keeping up like I should. Like I didn't know that. I knew like the women were WNBA players, and I knew like the eyebrow guy, but I don't watch sports enough to really like. I know LeBron because he's on stuff besides basketball. I don't know these other players. I'm like, okay, I'll assume they're. But even back in the day, like with Jordan, like I knew who Charles Barkley was. I knew who Larry Bird was. Exactly.
I mean, my dad watched basketball. Also, they were in the media for other stuff and commercials and things. I have not seen most of these people, but that didn't take away my enjoyment.
This is putting them into the media for other stuff, though.
Yes.
So this is helping. But like, yeah, I guess that might be my fault. I wasn't as in touch with the NBA, the WNBA as I should be. Like, they were familiar faces, but I don't know them. But the fact, like, in the original, we went on the whole journey of, they lost their powers. They had to go see the lady with the crystal ball, and they went to the psychiatrist. Like, they were really trying to figure it. Like, they had a whole B storyline.
Yeah.
With this one, it was like, scan them real quick, throw in the movie, move on. I mean,
it was interesting. I was actually going to ask as one of my questions. I was going to ask like what parts, because I mean there's two movies here now. What parts did you think worked better in the first Space Jam? What parts you think worked better in the second Space Jam? I know for me, I noticed that in the first Space Jam, the plot was really more focused on what the cartoon characters are going through. Like, these monsters came to the cartoon characters first and had to threaten them and then steal the powers to be able to fight against them. And at which point they went and got Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan's really the actual B plot of this story because it's really the Looney Tunes story. In this movie, the plot really is more focused on LeBron and his son and their journey of like acceptance and being very big. And then so then the son gets sucked into this thing where it's like, oh, your dad agreed to a basketball game, blah, 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 blah. At which point, by default, now LeBron's having to go get the Looney Tunes instead of the Looney Tunes having to go get him. So,
well, that's the thing too. He was sent to them because he never would have gone to Looney Tunes in the first place. But dude, the Al G sent him directly to the Looney Tunes. Because I was like, to me, the problem is this. I don't call myself a writer. I haven't put in the work yet to be a writer. I've studied a little bit. I've dabbled a bit at writing some scripts. More about that in the future. But from what I saw, the problem was usually if you're telling a story, you have the freedom to tell the story and let the story go where it needs to go. This is a forced plot. You have to get to certain points. You have to get to Bugs Bunny. You have to get LeBron into this world. You have to have certain things happen. So that being said, they had to force LeBron into Looney Tunes. Okay, it's a bad scenario to be in. I feel like they did a decent job with it, to be honest with you. Is there I don't know of a better way to get him there. Like, what else would you have done with these two together?
I definitely felt that like I was like, because we were about a good like 35, 40 minutes in before like a lot of the action stuff started. So it was, but that 45, 40 minutes, I kept thinking, okay, they're trying to, they're you can see them trying to steer the narrative to like, let's get LeBron to Looney Tunes land as best as we can. But we got to justify all that stuff. So we got to go back and justify how all this is going to happen. And it definitely felt like a push. It was like, we're just trying to push this so we can kind of get into cartoon land and get the story started.
It's a sequel. You got a lot of restrictions. Like you're writing in a bubble. And I got to say, shout out to the writers because I know, it's easy to mess that up. It's easy to give us something that feels forced, that feels quirky. You know what I'm saying? So like, to me, it wasn't a bad way to do it. I did like the modern updates because originally, just a comment you made the other day about, it wasn't in space. The original plot was cartoon aliens. Like, bro, come on. This is way far-fetched out there. You're telling me not only are they aliens, but they're cartoon aliens that can interact with the real world and suck the real world into the cartoon world. Like, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. But we loved it. It's a movie. It's a cartoon. Shut up. It's a cartoon. But so this one, I think it modernized it quite a bit, and it gave us a slightly more realistic plot that we could buy if we wanted to. I think for some reason we don't want to like this movie. And that's why a lot of people are, I don't know, not rejecting it, but criticizing it so hard. It was just like, we love the first one, leave it alone. There's like this criticism of Hollywood of like, don't touch the classics.
But people forget the first one was reviewed horribly also. Like, everything Jordan's acting to the plot to being a commercial. It's literally the same stuff they said about this movie they said about the last one. It's just now that it's 25 years of nostalgia added on, and it's been seen so much by
like, Space Jam is a guilty pleasure. I loved it. But I was, 10? I don't know. I didn't run the math on it. But, like, I was young, and I liked Michael Jordan. I liked Bugs Bunny. This is great. They could have done anything with the plot. I don't care. I'm a kid watching a movie with Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny. This is awesome. Yeah. So now the kids have LeBron. We're keeping Bugs Bunny going. You know what I'm saying? Like, they threw some jokes in there for the parents. They threw some stuff for our nostalgia. Like, let's go. Like, what's the problem? We got to enjoy the journey.
The theater I saw it in, this is probably a surprise to you, I was like the hardest one laughing in the whole theater. Like, they had enough good jokes being thrown at the screen where I was like, that's funny. That's funny. I get this reference. This is funny over here. Like, I actually had a ball watching this, and I remember, and it took me back to when I was like, I think I was like 14 when it came out. Like, being in the theater, just like, oh shoot, it's like it's the Looney Tunes again, and they're making these reference jokes, just like they did on Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, like all those shows were self-referential shows that Warner Brothers also made. By the way, I don't know if you caught the Animaniacs sitting on top of the spacecraft. I caught that whole thing. That was freaking awesome. But yeah, so it's like,
wait, you said the Animaniacs? I missed that.
In the background when they're all on the court and they're playing the game, the space thing in the back, space ship in the background, the Animaniacs are sitting on top of it, all three of them. I was like,
that's funny. Okay,
render, nice. I was looking at everything on the screen.
I gotta rewatch it. Like, that's what I'm saying. I want to go see it in the theater on the big screen. I still do want to do that, but I was like, I knew I had to watch it because it was the topic. I like to keep up with the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we are talking about collectively on social media, let me chime in. Let me see what's good. So this was the new one. It's a movie I want to see anyway. Let me rush, get it done so I can talk about it. I'll go back and enjoy it more in the theater next time.
Right.
But I do want to say on the grown-up shout-out part, like, they had all the cameos. Like, to me, it was spoiled by Ty, who we mentioned earlier. Spoilery. But the Rick and Morty, dude, hilarious. Classic. That would have been such an amazing moment had it not been spoiled for me. Like, they're doing in there. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. The fact they were talking about other superheroes, like, they addressed the fact that there's better options for this game. He tried. They just messed it up. But that's what Bugs Bunny does, is he messes stuff up for you and then kind of pulls it out at the end, and he's like the lovable jerk goof off dude. You know, like, I messed up, but you still love me. I did my best to fix it. Everybody happy, yay. That's the cartoon. That is literally what Bugs Bunny is about.
Right.
He's gonna mess with you, but then he's gonna make sure you're good before it's over.
Yeah. Now there's quite a few actually surprising controversies that are being talked about with this movie.
We're there already. We're doing already.
There's so much I want to talk about this movie, but I definitely want to mention a few things. So one of the big ones obviously was Pepe Le Pew being left out of the movie, which is ironic because I try to explain this to people. Because the thing is, people are saying we need to leave him out because he was like, he was assaulting another fellow cat, and we can't.
They were different species. That was a very important point.
Yes, and he was trying to touch her, and he was trying to touch her and get on her. He was trying to touch on her without her consent, and therefore we can't have that to kids.
He was trying to kiss her. He was trying to love on her. He was a romantic,
yes.
but she was.
Yes.
So he didn't know that because he had a stripe. So something happened that misinformed him. And so, you know, it was bad because he was trying too hard and she didn't want his advances, and it's the whole thing.
Well, no. Well, the thing is, well, no, because what I point out to people is that if you notice in like the earlier cartoons with him and the other, it's a cat. It's another cat, right? Mm-hmm. Like him approaching her was actually fine. The joke was that at the point that she could smell him because he's a skunk, he smelled so bad that she's trying to escape. But prior to that, there was consent. But people don't want to see it. They just see like, oh, she was running with him. It's like, do you know why she was running? Because he smelled so horrible. But it wasn't because she wasn't acquiescing to that. She was cool until he smelled bad. So, but people have messed it up now because of the Me Too stuff, to where it's like, oh, that's bad for me to take it out because they've misinterpreted what that actually was. I
do want to make this point because honestly, I don't necessarily want to blame Me Too for it, but I do want to blame cancel culture.
Yes.
I'm getting stronger about that distinction. I really do think there's a lot of good coming from Me Too as a whole. I feel like there's a segment of every movement that takes things too far, and the entire movement gets blamed for that segment. So I'm doing my best to speak about that more and more often. So where this cancel culture element of it is like, bro, come on, bro, it's a cartoon. Calm down.
Right. Yeah.
And we're talking about a cartoon from an era bygone. Like the same people were trying to cancel Baby It's Cold Outside. It's a song. Like the dude's daughter was like, bro, come on, man. It's a song.
And you can tell in the song they're ingested. Like she actually wants to stay, but she's trying to flirt like it's not a thing. And they turn it into a whole like, oh my God, he's keeping her against her will. Like that's not.
And that's the thing. Like there's an element of flirting that is like that we've kind of thrown away in order to be like, oh, this is horrible. This is bad. It's like, dude, okay, there's the whole cat and mouse game of it. Like that's a phrase because it's a theme. It's like let me be coy. Let you chase me. Like there's an element of that was attractive for years that's been like put into this little box and called evil. But I'm like, we got to be real about all that stuff. If we're going to really get anywhere with these conversations, we got to be honest.
Especially because like I think a lot of that too comes from like, because I don't think women have the experience on the guy side of things of like, most guys I know have experienced the, you're trying to talk with a girl, then she's like, oh no, blah, 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 blah. And the guy's like, okay, come together. No, wait, come back. Like most guys have experienced that. Most guys have experienced trying to get physical with the woman, and then there's resistance. So they kind of just pull back, and then the woman's like, no, I'm just kidding, blah, 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 blah. So that's a real thing that happens. It just, they don't want to recognize that. So it just looks as like, oh, anytime a woman says no or gives any kind of hint of something, it's automatically just dead for the evening. It's like, that's not really how that usually plays out.
I really wasn't expecting us to get this deep this time.
I wouldn't try, because
we have to though, because of the other controversy.
Well, wait. Well, there's more than one. So we'll go to I know the one you're thinking of. So we can go to that too. Yeah.
Because I dug into that one when I found out. I was like, oh, we got to research this. But I do want to say that in light of Me Too, in light of the tragic things that have happened, I do understand the danger of this situation, and there is an element there that needs to be kind of corrected. But I feel like that's something that's a conversation, and this part of it is where, unless there's like a legitimately malicious intent, it can be solved with better communication. What we're about to talk about next, though, is the other side of the game, which I think we need to make a distinction between the two. Because going back to this whole cancel culture situation, I feel like it's all been kind of lumped together in one box, where like one thing is comparable to the other. I feel like I'm talking in circles because we haven't said it. So let's address it, and I'll come back to this point.
Go ahead.
Can I? Yeah. All right. So people were tripping because Pepe Le Pew was taken out of the movie for his inappropriate actions in the cartoons, which we're discussing. But there's another cameo that comes in later by the dudes from Clockwork Orange. Somebody pointed this out and was like, okay, I got a question. What is this doing in this kids movie? Because this wasn't a kids movie. So I was like, okay, I've heard of a Clockwork Orange. I've heard it referenced a few times, mainly by Eminem, of all people. I've seen the logos, but I hadn't seen the movie. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what the movie was. So, of course, did a little research, pulled up a video here and there. What's it called? Thug Notes. Shout out to Thug Notes because he's hilarious. When I tell you this is not a kid's movie, This doesn't have any belonging being referenced in a kid's movie. This was ridiculous. Well, they explained what happened in A Clockwork Orange, for one. But, you know, I can't leave it there. I'm the film guy, right? I actually found it. It's on Netflix for anyone who's curious, and HBO Max, for free. Yeah, I watched part of it. I didn't finish the whole thing. I was watching it. It was late. I was shocked. There was not. What word can we use? What's the approved words?
Grape.
That feels so weird. There was an incident. That's such a terrible euphemism for this, because we discussed a situation of a skunk who was inappropriately trying to be romantic with a cat who he thought was a skunk, which is enough to get him removed from the film. When I tell you that there was not one, but two violent acts occurring in this movie in the first 15 minutes.
Wow. Because
I watched the first one, like, oh my gosh, this is harsh. This is horrible. There were physically multiple people going after a single person. Then I realized, oh, that's not them. That wasn't them. They show up and fight those people off. Oh, okay. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe they were the heroes who fought. No, they just wanted to fight and happened to catch them at the wrong time. These were hardened criminals, was the point of this movie. These were the worst of the worst people who did horrible things because they thought it was fun. Like, this movie is a lot. Then it went to the actual scene. I can't even really talk about what that scene looked like. So to be fair, this was from the 70s.
Yeah.
And the point of it was to show a degenerate group of people, like the worst of society, and then this government program to like reprogram him and make him more mechanic. That's where the whole clockwork thing came in. So it's like, okay, artistically, I get it, where they were coming from. We're showing this horrible stuff on screen. But when I tell you, it was one of the worst scenes I've seen. Like, so for that to show up was like
fun for the whole family.
I could see why somebody was mad. But I'm like, can we give Pepe Le Pew a second chance? Like, my man just was trying to kiss old girl and she didn't want to kiss, and he didn't like back away.
By the way, was not even in the movie. Like the cat he was trying to kiss upon. No, the cat the cat he was trying to kiss upon isn't even in the movie, in the first movie or the second movie.
In the first movie, he's just a character. He just like kissed the ball. Like, the whole point of Pepe Le Pew was he was a romantic. He was just a dude who was trying to find some love, and he was a little aggressive about it. Like, he didn't like do nothing crazy to the cat. He just was trying. She said no. He was like, "Are you sure? Like, maybe we can talk about it." He's trying to hug her. She's trying to get away because he stinks. So my whole thing is like, these two things have been lumped into this category of it's all the same thing and it's all basically punishable by death. I'm just like,
yeah.
I don't know if I'm like gonna be torn apart by the culture for this, but I feel like there's a difference between, you know, pursuing romantic interest, you know, a little bit too long, and a group of people pinning someone down to do bad things to them. Like, I feel like there's a difference there that should be on the table when we're having these discussions. You see what I'm saying?
And nothing else too, like a full interpretation of all this stuff should be like discussed. Like I said, like the interpretation of Pepe Le Pew as this, you know, this cat that's trying to go after and take what he wants versus like, oh, a cat that just happens to smell bad. So therefore the women that are attracted to him suddenly want to run. That should be a discussion in of itself, to have a distinguishable thing between like, oh, this is just a random cartoon and he's a cat and she's a cat and he's just trying to rape her, versus like, oh, like, no, there's a funny premise we've set up here that makes this a funny thing that doesn't make it assault on the other cat. But I digress. But that's the kind of thing also. So with all these changes that they made, one of the other changes that they made that I was kind of, I'd like to get your opinion on, is with Lola Bunny, because she is definitely the changing of her character from the first movie is definitely the result of these kind of conversations going on, whereby in the first one, it's like she had a sultry voice and she was kind of like had a little vroom vroom to her, but she still had basketball skills and knew what she was doing and was like primarily making Bugs Bunny horny, but other than that, like, I mean, they're two absolutely
part of his character traditionally, because I'm like, my man was going after basically anybody who will, any kind of a female character walk by on screen and the rest of the male characters would lose their minds. Like the Animaniacs, so hello nurse, and their eyes were popping out and stuff. That was a part of cartoons for like the longest. So it's just like, I get it. Culture's changing, people changing. We want to change that mentality.
Yeah.
The Lola Bunny theme, I noticed even in like the flashbacks, because like they showed what they looked like before. Even in those pictures, she had a fuller jersey on. Because the whole thing was she had the crop top, the short shorts. They gave her a sexy image. And it's just like, okay, this one, if I'm being real, like they made her kind of almost frumpy looking, which was like, okay, but it's like she's in super baggy stuff. Like she's just like super athletic thing running around, blah, blah, blah. But it's just like, we're going to put her in like extra baggy clothes and have it dripping around and make her as non-sexualized as possible.
Well, in the process, they basically made her a dude.
Well, it's not even necessarily that. It's just
like a tomboy. They made like a tomboy.
Tomboy. I guess to me, it's just like, I'm looking at it from the perspective of the whole women's empowerment conversation. A lot of it is, you know, women are like, we should be able to control our appearance. Like if I want to be covered up, then that's my choice. That's empowering. If I want to be sexy and have it all out there, that's empowering. That's part of the whole OnlyFans conversation. All the rest of it, it's like, I should own my sexuality, not you. So to me, the reaction is, okay, let's just get rid of sexuality. How is that not still the same message of we're still controlling what your sexuality should be like?
And I was thinking about it, like even if they, okay, we'll just take, it's a kid's movie. Nobody needs to be sexual, anything. We're going to take that out, fight away. My problem was this, is that they really made, first of all, Zendaya voiced the Lola Bunny, and it definitely gave it a more, because I know her character in Spider-Man is also very much like, very tomboyish, very not sexual, which again, it's a teenage, it's fine. But the problem is that,
but not unattractive.
Well, the problem I have is that in the process, you're taking away the sexual part, but you're also completely taking away any kind of femininity that Lola could have had. And I say that because in the opening scene with Lola, you see her, spoiler people, you see her in the DC comic world with Wonder Woman. And I'm looking at Wonder Woman and how Wonder Woman's talking and how she's presenting herself. And it's still very feminine. There's no sexuality coming out, but I still be like, oh, but her voice still sounds feminine. She still has a feminine aura about her. I don't feel like this would be offensive to kids at all, but they took all of that away from Lola. And then if you're going to, all the other characters in the movie sounded pretty much the same way that they did, even if they probably got better, they probably got newer actors to voice them, but they also sound pretty much the same. So by choosing Zendaya over somebody that sounded similar to Lola Bunny, you also changed up her voice, you changed up how she said things, you changed up the sensuality that was just naturally in her voice. Even if she wasn't trying to be sexy, she could still sound on some level like more feminine, and they just took that completely away.
Well, I don't really criticize them choosing Zendaya. I don't think they did it for that purpose. I think they chose her because she's hot right now. Like she's one of the top names in the business. So that was a marketing decision. If we put this A-list celeb in here, there you go. Now we got LeBron and Zendaya. Like to me, that was a no-brainer. So as far as her sexualizing or not, she's kind of an offbeat kind of person anyway. Like most of her characters aren't hypersexual that I've seen, or like she had her own show. Euphoria. I keep mixing up the word, but I'm like, that was a show where there was definitely some like, you know, adult themes, we'll say. But even on there, she was more like going through some stuff, dealing with life issues, crisis. Like it wasn't like, oh, I'm be hypersexual. It's like, you know, sex happens in a real world. So to me, I'm okay with them not overly sexualizing the character. To me, the mistake was drawing so much attention to it. Like, okay, if you're going to tone her down, just tone her down. Like, don't make it like, oh, we can't have this thing, so we're going to do better by doing it this way. Like, okay, now you drew attention to it and made it a big deal. It shouldn't be a big deal either way. It's a bunny playing basketball. Okay, it's a girl bunny. Okay, let's make her a little girly. Great. Oh, you're too sexualized. What? Oh, she has hair. Like, why is it? I don't get it. I don't understand.
And she has the hair.
I just feel like you stupid. But you're right. I just feel like Like we need to calm down with all this, you know, like life, just let life happen a little bit. That's all.
Yeah.
Like, let some people have some fun. Let some people, you know, express themselves. And like, we're trying to put so many rules on things that it's kind of distracting from the point of the theme. You see what I'm saying? Like all of this. Like, to be honest, I probably wouldn't have noticed the Clockwork Orange connection, except for the fact that it was brought up because of the Pepe Le Pew thing. It's like we're so busy trying to not look this way, it draws attention to the things that are even worse. Like Clockwork Orange was our kind of character. Like even if I've not seen the movie, I knew the dude with the little eyelash looking thing. Like, oh yeah, that's one of our properties. It was a cool movie. Yeah. But if we're gonna take a stand to not have this type of stuff in our film with this character, why the heck did you let this one in? You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna do it. But it's that whole like it comes across disingenuine. These words, boy.
Yeah. Oh, not to mention it doesn't feel also, right. Also, it's in there. Like we know they have a whole scene in that about with the kids doing stuff to get. Like,
I honestly didn't see it. I'm not a big horror fan. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen some horror.
No, just the clown. Just the clown person was there. I was like,
I know, yeah. You know,
yeah. So it's like
violence is okay. It's sex that's bad.
Well, I'm saying in the actual book that it's based on, the kids, in order to get out of something, they have an orgy together with each other. Oh. So again, like you're not going to get all this cancel stuff. All you're going to do is keep finding more stuff to cancel. You're going to miss stuff. You're like, oh, we got to cancel that now until there's like nothing left. Like there's no point in it, especially for a kids movie. Like,
and there's going to be like a too far where we cancel some stuff and people are like, no, don't cancel that, which I actually really appreciate though. It's like, I always bring up Robert Downey because, bruh, when they try to cancel him for Tropic Thunder, and like, I feel like the majority of the Black community was like, if y'all don't sit down and shut up somewhere, are you serious, man? We love that movie. Stop it. Like, Robert Downey, great job.
Very true.
I'm with you on that one. But yeah, it was like support after support after support. Like, why are we trying to cancel this? This was 100 years ago, bro. Calm down. But there's other stuff from 100 years ago that gets canceled. I mean, I'm exaggerating. 50 years, 20 years, whatever. The point is, it happened. It was cool at the time. Why are we digging through history to try to get rid of stuff? Like,
right. I'm just like, I have like a 10-year time limit at this point. Like if something happened 10 years ago, I don't care. If they apologize for it, I really don't care. Cause I'm just like, I'm not going to have you go on an apology tour for something you did 15 years ago. Lord knows we've all done stuff in our past that we don't want to keep having to apologize for. So I think that's kind of like, and then no apology is ever good enough anyway. It's like somebody says, I'm sorry. We didn't say it this way. You didn't write it in a card. You didn't like put it on a billboard. You didn't say it to these people. These like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
It comes down to kind of controlling the narrative, controlling who gets to write history. And I'm like, this is a topic we'll need to dive into in some other areas in the near future.
Yes.
But
now I will say
a lot more.
Yeah.
Real quick as a teaser, are you familiar with the whole Texas situation where they're trying to like rewrite the racial history?
There's so much stuff happening in Texas, but yes, I'm very familiar with it. Yes.
So that may be our next show topic because
that'd be a good one to cover.
Man, I was like, are they serious? But to me, it's the same mentality of I want to write history the way I want it to be. And so I don't like these things. So we're going to sit here and bash people today for stuff that happened back then. But not everybody for everything.
Yeah.
This is stuff that I'm bothered by. And so this is the topic of the day. So we're going to go back and bash people for this stuff. And it's just like, okay, are the people who were involved mad still? You know what I'm saying? Like,
live even like
to drudge stuff up. You know, are you making them relive stuff that they don't need to relive that they've gotten over? You know what I'm saying? It's like now they're back into their feelings about it. It's just a lot going on with it. And it's just like, I don't like it. I don't like it. We need to heal. We need to move on. We need to work with each other. There are people who take things too far who need to be corrected. Absolutely. That needs to happen.
Yeah.
That being said, we need to work on how to do that the best way and not just, hey, you did something when you were 12. Get them.
And like at the point they get corrected, can we like stop bugging them now? Like,
otherwise,
what's the incentive? Like Trump never apologized because he realized early on there's no incentive. Like,
but that's the thing too. It's like what we're learning is the people who don't apologize, kind of like people move on from it, and that was a thing. But the people who apologize is like, oh, you admitted it. Now we're gonna really get you.
Yeah.
So it comes down to like, so we're not encouraging people to do things the right way. We're kind of being like, hey, if you don't own up, it's better, right? That's not a good message. I don't like this. Like, there's a better way to do this, people. That's all I'm saying.
But yeah, so I will say of the various parts of Space Jam that I enjoyed.
This is our conversation about a kid's movie.
The best part of the movie for me personally
Yes.
was Don Cheadle as Algae Rhythm.
Really?
I have not
People
seen.
got on his head. People
I have not
hated it.
seen, because I've only seen Don Cheadle mostly in like the Marvel movies. I haven't really seen a lot of his side TV show products like this, but he looked like he was just having so much fun being that character. I was like, I don't care how people are going to judge this. He was saying some slick lines. He had some slick movements. He seemed like a really sly character. Like, I enjoyed everything about him every time he was on screen, every single time.
They were talking about him being a bad actor. We've never seen him act badly before. I was like,
is it a freaking kids movie?
Here's my thing. I've seen people say that, oh, it's a kids movie, it's a kids movie. Oh, well, kids movies are great. Look at Disney, look at Pixar. This is my thing. Let's not even call this a kids movie. This is Space Jam. Like, this isn't even like the Scorsese of kids movies. This is a commercial where we put people, cartoons, and basketball and made it work. Like, if I laugh 3 times, good job. Great movie. What are we expecting from Space Jam, people? Space Jam wasn't even like a classic, hilarious. It was okay. It was cool for what it was. We loved it. It's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
It's a bad movie that we loved. I'm going to just say it. It's a bad movie that we love, period. Yes. So what are we talking about? Why are we expecting the sequel to be this amazing masterpiece of writing and shot composition? And I'm going to sit here and they're not going to get a lot of, I mean, they might get some awards because, you know, Hollywood.
Like a Razzie or something, yeah.
Well, they really might win some, like, you know, best score or, you know, graphic effects kind of award type of stuff.
I didn't know he was getting criticized at it because I really did enjoy his performance in this movie. Like, I thought.
Maybe I know critical people. I don't know. But yeah.
I think, like, if you think like the kids, it's like, okay, the note was probably like, look, we need you to be over the top because kids enjoy over the top stuff. Heck, I'm an adult that I like over the top stuff sometimes in the right context. Like, I don't want to say like something like Black Widow, but something for like this, like, yes, all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, this works in this environment. So, like, he's what
it is. That's the thing. It's a campy movie. He's a freaking server to use it. The point of the movie is to be like, an algorithm is not going to come to life and kidnap people from the real world. That's like not already a realistic thing happen. So if you're going to have one do it, first of all, why does an algorithm have an ego? It's a machine. Like, what machine program has an ego that you can offend it? It's a machine, right? So if we're going to go that critical, then let's go all the way. Like, if I really, once again, if I wanted to tear this movie apart, if I wanted to nitpick the crap out of this movie, it's not hard at all. And I don't give you points for nitpicking this movie because, bro, come on. If your eyes are open, you can criticize this movie. But why? Like, have some fun, bro. Like, you know, now the other one I do want to touch on is Fast and Furious. This needs to be a whole nother segment.
Oh my God, yeah.
Fast and Furious, I still had to nitpick the best out of that movie. Like, I had to tear it to shreds. I had to rip little pieces. These fools died 10 times before open credits. But they made fun of it in the movie, which kind of gives you a little bit of a pass of like, we know we're being ridiculous, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, bruh, can I give the other spoiler? I mean, you've had a week or two to see it.
Yeah, sure.
We warned you. So this is Fast and Furious spoilers. I know we said Space Jam spoilers. When they put these fools in space.
And that was not Space Jam.
That's why I figured it linked, because Space Jam and jamming in space. They was jamming in space. But none of that happened. Nothing in that movie happened. Like, the dinner they had didn't have the Coronas they was drinking was none of that happened. That's how bad that movie.
Yeah.
And that came out a week before. Were we criticizing Space Jam?
Right. Where the cartoons are, but not in real life, where they're swinging with a rope that just happened to catch onto a tire across a whole thing where the bridge used to be.
Please watch
It's fine. But LeBron in a cyberspace server, we're gonna criticize that all day long.
That was the other one too. We talked about it ourselves, but people talk about, oh well, it's called Space Jam. They wasn't in space; they were in cyberspace. And the
I said that. No, I didn't get that.
It still fit, kind of ish. Once again, we're forcing a plot. Understand what forcing a plot is. If you have to have these things happen, you don't really have a lot of room of how to get there. Like, you got to figure out how to make it happen. And so to me, this was a much more realistic plot than cartoon aliens from space kidnapping people and magically stealing their powers.
Yeah.
Versus we're going to basically import these people into a VR environment that he has total control over. Yeah. I thought, because we can get back to the movie. I know I wanted to do this before we went on our tangent, but you know, I loved the fact that they brought the kids' video game into it, and that's what they played. People were mad, like, oh, they weren't playing basketball. Bro, this was NBA Jam. If you
wait. Sidebar.
They were playing NBA Jam.
Sidebar. Opening credits. When young LeBron had the Game Boy with the Bugs Bunny game on it, that game was Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle. And I know this because I had that Game Boy, and that was like the third Game Boy game I ever bought was Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle. And when I tell you, I was like, I had a straight nostalgia, like, oh my God, I got to find that game.
For the grown-ups, that was for you. That was your part. Okay. Yeah. Seeing stuff like that. Even the Bugs Bunny, you know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, I feel like the other message to the grown-ups was kind of how Bugs felt like the world was leaving him behind. He was trying to hold on to the old ways, and all his friends had moved on. You know what I'm saying? He's the only one left in Toontown because, you know, everybody in Toontown no more. Everybody want to go off into the different lands and different worlds. He had to go and reclaim all of that. Like, I think that was kind of for us trying to hold on to that nostalgia. You know, things need to be this way and that way. That was like a little hidden message that they put in there for the grown-ups. Like, life changes, life moves on. You can still have this connection, but it's got to grow and expand. You can't stay where you were and expect everybody to stay there with you. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm being too deep. Maybe I'm being too deep. But that's the thing. There's messages in kids' movies. Like to LeBron, and you know, it's like, look, listen to your kid. He don't want to be you. He want to be something else.
Now this one for people criticizing again, because everybody's saying like, oh, it's a bit commercial. This movie actually had way more of a plot with layers to it than the first Space Jam did. This first it was basically like aliens came. Oh, get Jordan, we're saved. This one was like father son. He wants to be a video game programmer. He wants to play a basketball thing. He has to learn to grow into his own. He has to learn to accept his son. I mean, it was a whole like, if you took the Space Jam part out of it, it is like a father and son dynamic drama.
Yeah. So they took elements from other movies, and I've learned that that's key for script writing. Like, you really want, like, it's not necessarily stealing. Like, there's a way to do it, and I think they did a good job of it. I'm learning to call it out in movies more and more. But the whole commercial element, you got Ready Player One, you got Wreck-It Ralph 2, where they did the same thing. Wreck-It Ralph 2 took Disney properties, huh?
And the first one too took a lot of video game properties, so it was still
true. Yeah, true. I called out part 2 because it was so huge. They took us through the digital world of Disney.
We had also
the princesses come together in the one scene. It was like these iconic moments of just the Disney universe. You know what I'm saying? It showed us how big it really was. This was Warner's chance to do the same thing, and they did a good job with it. Honestly, I'm like, dude.
Wreck-It Ralph got rave reviews for doing the same thing. Warner
it was a commercial, but that was Disney though, and you know Disney can do no wrong, so that's a big part of that. And then I don't know the studio behind Ready Player One, because I was thinking it might have been, was that them? Was that
it was directed by Steven Spielberg, so that would be like Amblin or I think it's Universal. I think it's Universal.
I think it might be Warner though, because they had an Iron Giant and all them in there too.
I don't know.
So he crossed over at least, but to me, like that was the vibe they were going for. Like, this was, like the algorithm said, this was the excuse to bring the star power of King James to their property. Like, that was the whole point. The plot of the algorithm in the movie was what the actual movie was for.
Yes.
Like, they just put it into the plot to make it funny, but no, this is actually what we're doing.
And they called it out a few times too. Yeah.
We're really just trying to bring his star power to make our catalog look better. Like, and I'm not mad at you for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had fun. I got the nostalgia of all the different stuff. You got to see, you know, the cartoon characters playing the superheroes in a minute. Like, I remember that. I remember, like, you know, Daffy trying to be super. Like, that was fun. It was super fun.
Oh, I don't want to spoil it for people watching this, so I won't spoil it too much. But what did you think of the special cameo?
I was gonna say it. That was literally my next point. Can we not spoil it?
I don't know if I want to, because I kind of like, I got mad because like
I was spoiled the whole rest of the movie, bro.
Because Ty spoiled it for somebody. I was just like, oh, what are you doing? Like,
Ty, that's your second spoiler call out on this show.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need you to watch that.
She spoiled quite a few things, and I was trying to be like
spoileriness. Anyway,
so yeah. But I thought that was, I will say, I thought, because as soon as they said what was happening, I was like, I already know what's happening and I'm already here for it. And then it happened. I was like, I'm still here for it.
That was my favorite moment in the movie. Hands down. I was like,
of any movie to do it in, by far, this is the only one you can do it in.
Low clap, brilliance. I could not have been done better. Like, are you serious right now? Like,
it was timed perfectly. I was like,
it was just like this. Like, nailed it, bro. Nailed it. And star power. Like, winning. But there's a lot of people hating. But I'm over here like, bro, why hate?
Like, why?
I'm over here like, to anybody who didn't like this movie, how would you have made it better? What would you have done to do a better job with? You have to have LeBron, Bugs Bunny, some kind of tournament with world-saving stakes.
Space of some kind.
What better plot do you have for this? Like, so the other thing is people are like, oh, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. It's a classic. Don't make another one. I stopped watching movies. Like, there's
and the problem too is that this movie came out 25 years ago. So yeah. So what happens is over time, those people grow up, they have kids, those kids see the first Space Jam, and now they want more Space Jam. So you know what's funny, for adults, but also for like the kids.
But the other funny part is Disney been doing this forever, ever. That's all Disney does. Disney had a bunch of classic movies, and then they put them out, and then they take them away, and then put them back out again on. Remember, it was the VHS. So I grew up with the VHS Disney VHS collection
in the vault.
Oh, this one's going away forever. Buy it while you can. Oh no, you'll never see it again. It's gone. And then like 10, 15, 20 years later, like new release on DVD. Boom, we got the same movie you saw when you were 4, but now you can have it on this DVD instead of this VHS because you don't have a VHS player no more. They're like, hey, now we're going to release the digital copy. And after they played that game for so long, they're like, you know what? Let's just remake the movie.
With live action.
From a different perspective. We'll make these cartoon cats live action. What? First of all, I still want to say those were real cats. I understand y'all are telling me it's technology and stuff, but I could see it had a little belly. It was breathing. It had hairs on it.
It was talking too, Joe.
I don't know how retarded cats talk, but that was a cat. Okay, I've seen CGI. That's not how CGI works. That was a cat. I'm being silly for anyone who's not keeping up. That was a joke. Oh my God. Yeah, so they were just very realistic looking cats because, wow, you guys did a great job.
Yeah.
But yeah, so don't keep remaking old stuff. So then just throw all of Marvel away because those were comic books. They did them already, right?
Yep.
Why would you make them films? And then why would you make more films based on the old films? Why are we still doing sequels?
Yeah.
Like, bro, come on, bro. Like, let people be creative. They know this is a property we love. They know they're going to sell 32 million worth of it. We didn't even get to future stuff yet. You know what I'm saying? It's just opening.
It really is like it's going to help all the other properties and also merchandising because kids will be reinvested in the Looney Tunes for sure. Want the Bugs Bunny doll,
like non-sexualized Lola Bunny and all.
Yeah,
like they still going to sell Lola Bunny costumes. So maybe that's.
Although there will be a fetish costume. You know this is going to happen.
I'm sorry, what?
There will be a Lola Bunny fetish costume.
Well, they made that harder. Man, now you got to have like the cutoff jersey or the jersey dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to just put that out there. If somebody want to make a Lola Bunny jersey dress.
Or a spousal abuse shirt.
You're going to win. You're going to win. Spousal Just call it an A shirt, okay? An A shirt. I think that's the official term.
The A shirt? Okay.
A looking.
For abuse? Okay.
Friendly show. That's a lie. If your kids are watching this and you can hear me, put them on timeout. Send them to their room. They are not supposed to be watching this show. No.
Oh man. But yeah, so
18 plus when you put the title Space Jam review, parental warning, advisory, because we go there.
Oh my God. Any final thoughts on this new Legacy Space Jam?
Well, you wouldn't let me spoil my favorite part. I'm really upset about that, but I say go see it or stay home and see it. You ain't gotta leave your house. I don't even think it costs anything if you got HBO Max.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
So all the people that I don't know if I want to see it, stop being a hater. Just watch it. It's fun.
Yeah, if you like the first one, I mean, this one, it's weird because like if somebody would ask me like which one do I like better, for me it's like it's not really if they're different in a sense where it's like they're in the same universe, but they're different in terms of their execution. So I actually like the first Space Jam.
The same universe. Like this one kind of stands alone to me. Like
they mentioned MJ in it several times, so like that he was around and
same from the cartoon side it connects, but that's kind of it. You know what I mean? I was gonna make another movie comparison because I said the whole thing of the movie properties. Oh, the plot with the son that people like. Oh, I don't know, blah blah. That's a familiar plot too, where the bad guy gets him and then turns him to his side. And
oh my god, so much used. Yes.
My favorite previous rendition was Hook. Hook was great, where Hook kidnaps the kids and he turns his son to his side, and then he's dressed like Hook, like he don't even remember who the dad is, and he has to save him from the villain who corrupted him to be on his side. Like that's a very familiar plot that worked perfectly for this scenario, I feel like. And the fact that it was his game. So the one thing I would have changed that would have went with the theme of redemption of the son and learning your lesson and letting the son be him and live your life. And this is super spoilery, sorry, but that last shot where the son held him and threw him the thing and the booster, I would have been like, kick the son the ball, let him shoot the 3 and win the game. If you let the son win the game, I think that would have summed that story up a little better. That's my one critique. That's my one change to the movie. Actually kick the ball to the kid, like in life. Say I did my thing, I had my shine. This is about you, kid. We in your world, in your game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
very true.
And that would have been a spin, a twist from the last one where MJ was the hero. You know what I'm saying? LeBron has to be the hero. Like, nah, man, I'm gonna give you this one. It's your world now. And then we could watch his movie in 20 years.
Yeah, that would have been a good little twist for sure. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot to mention. Have you heard the Space Jam New Legacy soundtrack?
So I haven't heard the soundtrack. I did notice the songs at the end.
Okay.
So I was listening. I was like,
if you get a chance, I will say
what?
Of the 2 soundtracks, I heard the second soundtrack and then I did my flashback thing. The soundtrack for the first one, by the way, is not available on streaming services. I think because at the time they had like a bunch of different artists from different labels and stuff. So there's like, if you go on like iTunes or Apple right now, you can listen to like 3 songs off the soundtrack.
Probably on YouTube.
So I downloaded all the songs and just made them MP3s and put them on my thing. But so I will say, in listening, I think the sequel soundtrack is actually better in the sense that if you are going to a basketball movie and you're getting hyped up for a basketball game, this album has more hype songs on it that I'd expect to go into a basketball game. Listening back to the older soundtrack, it's a lot of R&B tracks, a lot of like love songs, a lot of songs that don't really vibe with the theme of the movie you're going for. Even like I Can Fly is like, it's a slow ass song.
Nothing to do with it.
It's the opening narrative, but it's like, it's a slow ass song.
And there's like connected to Jordan flying, I guess, but that was it. It had nothing to do with nothing.
And they also had Fly Like an Eagle on there too for that. Fly Like an Eagle.
Yeah.
Like they ended up.
It was more about just these are popular artists. That was a hot soundtrack at the time, I must say.
Yeah.
And there were some inappropriate songs while we're on the topic because the whole Cajun Faces situation and Mr. Kelly. That song in itself was a lot back then. I was like, what are we listening to on this little cartoon soundtrack? I love the compilation one, the Method Man and all them. Like that was the hottest. Like,
and that's the thing, like,
killed it.
I will say, as far as strong songs, I think the first one, the songs that were strong were like really strong. Like Fly Like an Eagle, Quad City DJ song, the Hit 'em High, Basketball Jones, like the Bugs Bunny rap. I did wish
I do want to talk about that because the Bugs Bunny rap from the first one on the soundtrack was classic.
Yeah.
This Porky Pig rap thing was kind of weird to me. Like I was like, what? But why? What? Like that threw me.
Yeah, it's not on the soundtrack, but yeah, when seeing the movie, I was kind of like,
okay, that should have been on the soundtrack. Like that's the Bugs Bunny rap was on the soundtrack. Like y'all tripping.
And that's all was in the movie either. Yeah.
But why? Like I get it, we're being goofy, but why?
Yeah,
like that was a lot, guys.
I think of all the characters seeing Porky Pig rap was just kind of like
Notorious P.I.G.
Like it leaned towards kind of pandering a bit to the black crowd, but it was just like it's a cartoon, so whatever, because he doesn't have a color. But it's still it was not a good rap at all.
Like, it was. If they had to cut something, that would have been my vote.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. If we needed to chop some time off, we're gonna go with Porky Pig.
Yeah. Exactly. But the soundtrack itself, like I said, I think this one, there's not necessarily any major standout songs per se, but just the feel. Well, there are songs that I definitely have like I have an affinity for now, but just the overall feel that felt a lot more hype and more appropriate for a basketball movie. Like I could play this, get ready for an actual game at home, and like and be good to go.
I heard like 2-3 songs, and the ones I heard, I was like, "What?" I just know when the credits rolled, and I was like, "That sounds like Kirk Franklin and Lil Wayne." And it turns out it was Kirk Franklin and Lil Baby, or the Baby. I always mixed them.
Lil Baby, yeah.
One of the babies. Kirk Franklin and Lil Baby. First of all, why?
Because you can't curse on the soundtrack, therefore you can have those people work together and it'd be fine. That's
why. But then the other one was like, Lil Baby sounded like Lil Wayne to me. And I realized it was the auto-tune. If you have auto-tune and rap in that little like style, that it sounds like Wayne. Yeah. And then like I remember because I asked Eric, I was like, "Yo, what's up?" It looks like him and Lil Wayne, and he was like, "Yes." And the next song was actually Lil Wayne on the. All right. So
and honestly, maybe it's because the version of me that back in the day couldn't listen to music that had cursing in it because my mom didn't like cursing like that. But like I like the fact that the whole soundtrack there's no bad language. I can play this in front of my nephews, my niece, my mom, and it'd be no big deal.
I feel kind of weird. Like, if a song has cursing in it, I want to hear the version with the cursing in it. Like, I don't like the re-edits. But if it legitimately is written that way originally, then all good, no problem.
So that's the whole soundtrack. It's there's no edits out. It's all.
I just don't like the whole we're gonna put a replacement word that sounds stupid thing. Like I've always hated that. Like don't mess the song up. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
But yeah. So if they wrote it with no cursing.
Yeah,
wow, I like it.
Whole thing, back to front, no beeps, no burps, just all. Even like Saweetie's on there with a song with Cash Doll and Salt and Pepper. Which what I was gonna say, the one thing that connects these two movies is that Salt and Pepper are on both soundtracks.
That's funny,
and they're killing it.
They did a lot of work because they was in Coming to America too.
Yeah,
too, and
all the 80s and 90s throwbacks they're getting called for.
That's how iconic Salt and Pepper. And Spinderella, who never gets no credit. I got you, Spin.
No more, so she ain't get nothing now. So,
but I'm just saying, I got love. I got love for Spanish. Did she break up from the group? What happened?
Like 2 years ago, yeah. They had a whole show about it. Like, yeah, she was like, "You ain't throw your weight around here." So, Oh, yeah. They had a show, so they're not.
So just Salt and Pepper, apparently. Because, yeah. And In Vogue was In Vogue on there.
No. Is that the only connection is literally just Salt and Pepper.
I gotta say, In Vogue. As a group, I think that was my first group crush.
I can see that.
I was in love with all of them. Just
they were fine back then. So they were fine back then for sure.
It was fine. They could sing. I think they still are. I don't know. A lot of them holding up. I haven't looked for like Nia Long, bruh. For real.
I mean,
even like Vivica, you like, damn, man.
I mean, Vivica had work to make. Halle Berry's legit still. Like,
Holly, oh my gosh, like that's what I'm saying. Like they be talking about Black Don't Crack. I'd be like, I get it. Angela Bassett.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like I haven't done my homework on the In Vogue situation, but I just feel like at least one of them is still like.
I was like, I'm thinking of SWV. SWV, they are not in the prime anymore.
That's sure.
Yeah, that's sad.
Hey, we still got love for y'all sisters with the voices.
We do.
What's your man? I love that J. Cole was like, my only regret was too young for Lisa Bonet. My only regret, Lisa Bonet too.
Still got it.
My only regret was too young for Nia Long. You heard Nia Long was like, hold up, what you mean too young? Hold on, little. We can talk about it. What's good? I was like, yo, super cougar status, go for it. I was like, that'd be dope. I mean, Vivica 50 was working for a minute. She's still talking about it.
She got a lot of work done, and it's starting to not work for her anymore. Like
I'm just saying, like the whole going with the younger rapper dude thing, like it worked for them. They just, they said it didn't work out, but she's like, nah, it wasn't a bad look. I don't regret it. I was like, what? She was like, everyone was Curtis. Curtis was such a gentleman.
Curtis.
Like, yeah, if you watch that interview, she had nothing but like positivity about it. I was like,
that's true.
Nick and Mariah, it works that way sometimes. I mean, it didn't work long run, but. When it was working, it was working.
Yeah, very true.
So me and Jay, look, if y'all make it work, let me shut up. Okay, I'm done. Oh gosh, yeah.
So that's all we got for Space Jam, guys. So let us know your thoughts about the movie. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you want to? What'd you think about Lola? What'd you think about the plot? If you thought there was one or not, like send your thoughts. We'd love to hear them. So that's all I got. This is APT Songs
and Joe Hollywood.
and we will see you all on the next No Cap Zone. We out. Peace.